Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Edem back again with Global Abundance LLC. Thank you for stopping in if you're new to the channel. And if you are already part of the family, welcome back. On this channel, we talk all things real estate, commercial, residential, and we, answer questions and dig deep on certain aspects of the real estate industry with a little financial literacy content sprinkled in there and some personal development as well, because it's always best to have our minds sharp and on point so we can identify opportunities as they come, have foresight and see opportunities before they happen, and just be able to take advantage of what's in front of us. So you'll see a little bit of that sprinkled into these videos here, and sometimes it'll be just all about personal development and mindset and financial literacy, because as we all know, real estate is just a vehicle, right? So that's where we are. We have a free VIP group where a group of investors and like-minded individuals like yourself share what's going right and some of the things to avoid in the industry currently right now, answer questions and learn and grow as a community together. I'll leave a link below in the description for that for you to join if that's something that you'd like to do. It's totally free. We'd love to have you. Today's video is going to be about just a few different ways that you can invest in real estate. All right. And the different types of properties that you may be already familiar with. Maybe you are, just starting out and you're kind of like, well, what do I invest in, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to kind of just go into a few of those today. So let's get started. All right. So the first thing talking about here is, investing in rental properties. Rental properties are a great way to generate passive income and build long-term wealth. All right. So, by renting out a property, you can earn a steady stream of income, without even having to sell the property. You can buy and hold, keep it, and just create cash flow every every month. On top of that, um, there's a strong likelihood that the property will appreciate in value. So your property will be worth more as you keep holding on to it. You are making monthly income. To top that off, you have certain tax advantages, that you also have, that is going to also put money in your pocket and save you a lot of money. So there are a lot of ways to win with investing in rental properties. There's also forced appreciation, which is things like raising the rents, adding value to the property, and allowing for a bigger cash flow monthly. All right, so that's one of the first things I wanted to talk about there. Um, the next thing is just investing in fix and flip properties. Maybe you're the type that you've seen around a lot of boarded up houses, or just properties that look vacant, and the grass is tall and doesn't really look like one, anybody's living there, or if they are, it's not in the it's a distressed property, right? You can come in, buy that property generally at a discount, and renovate it, rehab it, and put it back out there for a profit, or buy and hold and do what I just talked about in the first example, which is rent it out. So those are some of the options that you can get into when you're investing in fix and flip properties. It generally will take a few months to get in and out. You know what I mean? If you have it's all going to depend on your team. You have to have a team of contractors and everybody that makes up your team to see the deal through and see the deal through in a fast pace. So that's, one thing you can do there. If you're the handyman type and you like, tearing down a house and building it up from scratch yourself, and you want to go through that, maybe you do 1 or 2 projects a year. It's up to you. So these are some of the things that you can do. Commercial as well, you know what I mean? That falls into that, where it's what we call a value add. It's not something that you would say I'm fixing, flipping a office building, or I'm, you know, fixing and flipping a warehouse or a retail strip mall. You know what I mean? It's a value add. So you are adding value to the property, and raising its value, and getting it to its highest and best use, so you can, you know, keep it moving from there. So that is fixing and flipping properties. All right. The next thing is investing in vacation rentals, things like timeshares and things of that nature. Investing in vacation rentals can be, a good financial move for you. It just depends, especially in popular tourist destinations, where demand for short-term, you know, uh, rentals is pretty high. This will be your places where you see Airbnbs, just like going crazy, because people love coming to those areas to visit. They love just spending time in those areas. So you buying a property there and renting it out for short-term renters is a great thing. Also, it could be a property, even though we're talking about vacation rentals, just to kind of piggyback off what I'm talking about here. Maybe you have a place that is close to somebody's place of business, and instead of them commuting, uh, you know, uh, uh, hours to get to, where they work at, they can, simply have a short-term rental there where they can just kind of stay there and be able to get to work quickly. Maybe they're a traveling nurse or something of that nature that, is kind of on and off for 3 to 6 months or something like that in that specific area. So that would be something to keep in mind too. Um, you know, uh, those are your vacation rentals. You know what I mean? And you want to make sure that you are, identifying the right property in a competitive market, and that could be a challenge, but that's something that you want to keep in mind. The next thing is investing in commercial properties. Like I said, you have the 4 food groups, which are retail, multifamily, office, and industrial or warehouse. Uh, Huge profits here, potentially higher returns, but it does take a level of expertise and the right information, and working with the right sponsors or operators, working with the right financial institutions to really make these deals work. Okay. You don't want to be really dealing with anybody that's inexperienced in this space. You want to be dealing with experience, especially if you've never done any deals, right? In the commercial space, you want to, at least your first couple deals, go ahead and partner up with, some investors that's already doing their thing with commercial real estate. So I have some videos on the channel where I kind of give you an overview of those 4 food groups, which I just talked about, and that's kind of some the phrase that's used inside the industry for those commercial properties. All right, you got multifamily, you got warehouses or industrial, you have retail, which is your strip malls, and you have office buildings. A lot of what's happening now is office buildings are being converted into multifamily or senior housing or even student housing, uh, because COVID changed a lot of things, and sent everybody home, right? But even now today, a lot of office buildings aren't being utilized the way they used to pre-COVID. So a lot of these office buildings are going into default, and there's some great opportunities out there. But again, make sure you get educated in that space before you just try to jump in and try to flip your first office building right out the gate. Not saying it can't happen, but just know that you need to get educated before you make that move. All right. So, that's another way to get involved is commercial real estate. You have REITs, or real estate investment trusts. And REITs are basically companies that own and operate income producing real estate properties. Uh, Investing in REITs can be a low risk way to invest in, real estate without the hassle of actually managing the properties. All right. So, uh, that's something that you can look into as well. You have crowdfunding. You know what I mean? There's two schools of thought. Some folks in the industry were never really fond of crowdfunding, or are a fan of that. And then there's those that really love crowdfunding, because basically crowdfunding allows investors to pool their funds to invest in real estate projects, right? Um, as far as commercial, that would be like a syndication. You know what I mean? It would be a syndication of people bringing their funds together, and someone managing that to purchase a property and invest in certain projects. This allows the mom and pop everyday individual, to just put in a tiny bit of money. I'm talking about even under $100, under $1,000. You know what I mean? To own a tiny little piece of something. There's a bunch of websites out there. You can do your research and look it up that have these crowdfunding kind of things in place. So, check it out. It's a low risk way to invest in real estate without the high cost of, managing properties overall. All right. So, uh, do your research on that. And if that's something that you want to get involved in, there's tax liens. You know what I mean? Tax lien investing, involves purchasing the right to collect unpaid property taxes from, property, from homeowners. Basically, what happens is the county will uh, put a tax lien on a property that hasn't paid their taxes, and in a lot of cases, if a certain amount of time goes by after you've stepped in and paid those taxes, because essentially that's what you're doing when you invest in tax liens, you're paying the taxes off for that homeowner who is owed those taxes to the county. What ends up happening as a result is uh, you get a tax lien certificate, and you've invested for a certain percentage of a return that is guaranteed by the county. In the cases that homeowner that whose taxes you essentially paid off does not redeem and pay the county back, plus interest, fees, and everything else is where you're getting your return from, plus your principal, then you have the opportunity to actually acquire that property. All right. So you have tax liens, you have tax deeds, and these are another low risk way to not only generate cash flow or a return on your investment. Wouldn't say cash flow necessarily, but return on your investment, and also a way to acquire properties, for cheap. Um, some of these type of properties end up going to what's called, over the counter. And I've talked in other videos about what those are, where you basically are buying a property over the counter, just like it sounds. OTC is over the counter. And, you know, it's called different things in different states and in different counties, but generally that's what you're doing. You're going to the county and buying the property over the counter that may not have sold at a tax deed auction or another type of auction. So check that out if you want to take a look into that. Another thing is investing in mortgage notes. You know what I mean? There is a way to buy the note on a property where you basically become the bank. So say John Smith is living inside this home. There's a way for you to buy that note. It could be performing, meaning that John is paying on the note, or it's non-performing, meaning that John is not paying on the note, and you want to bring it back into a performing stage. You can actually buy that note and you know reestablish payments with John Smith, and make sure that John Smith gets back on track, because you want John Smith to stay in the home and keep his home and keep paying on the mortgage. So that's a way for you to invest as well without actually certainly going out and buying property. It's generally known as flipping paper, and buying the note. So it's that's a very lucrative thing. There's a lot of us that only focus on mortgage notes. It's something that I know about, but it's not the main thing in my wheelhouse. Okay, but that is a way for you to invest, is buying mortgage notes. Okay. Uh, Another thing, and this is my bread and butter, and the thing that I love is investing in land. It's a low risk investment option. Um, Unlike other forms of real estate, it doesn't require a bunch of maintenance and rehab, and like the person in the team that taught me, there's no tenants, toilets, and termites. You know what I mean? I love that statement, but it's true. You know what I mean? You're not going in there and having to, oh, let me look at the roof, and let me check the foundation and this and this and this. You know what I mean? It's straight up dirt. It's land. Now obviously there's things that go into buying the right piece of land, not buying a piece of land in a flood zone, or sitting on a fault line. You may not want to buy a piece of property that's sitting right on top of a fault line, but regardless, you get the idea. You want to be buying land in places that make sense, and in the path of growth is your best bet. And it's very low maintenance. It is just really nothing to it. You know what I mean? There's things that go into it, but it is not as uh, strenuous maybe as buying a house. It's definitely not as involved as in buying a commercial asset. So something that you may want to look into, and I have a few videos about that on this channel, because that's really where I love to play at, is in the vacant land space. So, in areas with high demand for new development, investing in land could be really profitable. Like I said, you're in the path of growth. Okay, so check that out. You know what I mean? So these are just a few ways of investing in real estate. I hope you found this information useful. Uh, give me your feedback down below in the comments. Any experience that you have in different areas that I've talked about. Um another one I can talk about is mutual funds, investing in real estate mutual funds, for example. Um, some of you stock guys out there, I do day trade myself and I trade crypto, but that's something else. But regardless, maybe you know you want to invest in real estate mutual funds. Mutual funds are professionally managed funds that invest in real estate properties and REITs. Okay, so it's another low risk way to invest in real estate without the high cost of, again, buying and managing properties yourself. All right, so take a look into that if that's something that you want to you know get involved with. But once again, these are, like I said, a few of the things that can help you out as far as what you're doing, especially if you're getting started. If you're already seasoned, you're already doing these things, this video may not have been that much of value to you. But if you're starting off and kind of like trying to figure it out, which way do I want to go, kind of gave you some options there. So hopefully that helped you out. I don't want this video to go too long. So again, if you found value, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Click the link below in the description for our free VIP group if you want to join. And until next time, happy investing.